I really want to know. We are curious. Everyone wants to know how you actually got your fully funded scholarship, how you did it, the process, and all of that. But let's start by you telling us about yourself. Tell us your name and the name of the scholarship you received, where you are, the country you are. You're going to mention it yourself.
Okay. Thank you so much, Tosin. It's really also nice to be here. It's a privilege, will I say, a pleasure to be here. My name is Oluwafemilayo Chinonye Samuel, and I did my master's under the Erasmus Mundus Joint Master Degrees Scholarship Program.
Okay.
The program is such that you don't spend time in only one country, but you have to spend your semesters in at least two countries. It's funded by the European Union. And for me, my first semester, I did the um, of International Masters of Science in Rural Development program. So my first semester was in Belgium, in Ghent University. I spent my second semester at the Slovak University of Agriculture in Slovakia, and my third semester was at the University of Pisa in Italy. Yeah.
Okay, so you're currently in Italy right now on a
Yes,
fully funded scholarship.
I'm currently in Italy right now. I'm done with the master's. I finished the master's in 2023. So I'm currently working on my PhD on another scholarship in Italy.
Fully funded as well.
Fully funded, yes.
Wow. So take us through the journey, like the process, the application process. How was it like?
Okay, well, I applied in 2021 and I found the program on a WhatsApp group. So I only knew about the how prestigious the scholarship was after I had gotten it. So that year was, I think I just finished my NYSC and looking at what was coming next. I am passionate about rural development. So I was looking for programs in that line. But someone posted it on the first class student WhatsApp group that I was on, and I checked out the program structure, and I saw that majority of the things in the program resonated with what I felt like I wanted to do. So I started to apply for it. So I had not, that was the only scholarship I applied for that year. So I just went through the application process.
Just so I want you to just take us through the journey, like the application process. How was it like for you?
The application process was fairly easy. Like I mentioned earlier, I found the program online in a first class WhatsApp group,
Okay.
and I went to the link, and on the link, everything I needed to do was there. So I started my application in around November because it's open for about 6 months from September to February. So I started around November. I filled in the forms and started to upload motivation letters. I also had to write like a one-page research proposal of what I thought I wanted my master's thesis to look like. But it was not binding because that was not what I eventually did in the end. And then, most important for these scholarships, I don't know if it applies to all Erasmus Mundus Joint Masters program, but for mine, which was the International Masters of Science in Rural Development, I had to prove proficiency in English language. They do not accept the waiver, or even
ITS,
yes,
ITS or something.
I wrote TOEFL. I wrote TOEFL. They had the score range. I think you must get about 90 or 95 to qualify.
Wow.
So I wrote TOEFL and then uploaded my results. And by early February, I think I submitted my application and waited for the results, which came out around May, June.
Okay. All right. So that takes me to the next question of the kind of documents that you need to that you need to get ready for the application process. For instance, if you found out any scholarship opportunity and you want to apply for it, what's like the first step to take, the document you need first, how you need to get them, like the step-by-step document you need to have handy before you get started at all.
Okay. So your school degrees, I needed to send I remember at the point I needed to send the original copies of my bachelor's degree and transcript to the school, even after uploading online. And most of us, we have the student copy, but they require the original copy from school. So while you're preparing, you can just start making connections to know when you need it, what is the process for applying from your school to receive it or to send it directly to them from there. So that was one thing. Another thing is, of course, your CV. So from now, even before you start applying, prepare your CV. For the Erasmus Mundus Masters program, they prefer that you use the Europass format. So from now, you can already go online to say, okay, what's the Europass CV format? And you can
What did you
start
call
to
it again?
Europass. Europass. I can send
Europass.
you the links afterwards. But what's the Europass CV format? You can start structuring your CV in that line. You will need recommendation letters as
Okay.
usual. So for me, what I did was I had one recommendation letter from my supervisor who supervised me during the bachelor's for my thesis. Then I also had a place I'd done an internship with the Federal Ministry of Agriculture in Abuja then. So I also wrote
Okay.
to my supervisor to please send me a letter. So what you can do while you're preparing to apply is start going back to strengthen your relationships with your supervisors in case you're no longer in touch with them. Start saying hello from now and start preparing their minds that, oh, I would be applying for scholarships soon. Please, I will need recommendation letters from you. And I know
So you need
some
to start building relationships now, even if you
scholarships.
don't like your lecturers while you were in school.
Yes, you have to do that
Okay.
from now because you need their endorsement that of your character, of how you do your work and all of that. Then the documents from your secondary school, WAEC,
Okay.
I also needed to present that. So now I'm talking about the documents you need during the application process because once I was accepted, I then had to start authenticating and legalizing my documents. So I had to start doing the runaround to go to the Ministry of Education, the Ministry of
Wow.
Foreign Affairs, for them to stamp my original WAEC bachelor's degree
Oh, you'll be the
transcript.
one to do that yourself. You were the one doing that yourself.
Yeah, I did everything myself. Like, I don't know. I know that some people go through agents, but for me, I feel like I want people to know that you can do it yourself. And
Mm.
of course, it's not going to be easy. You have to be determined, but you can do it yourself. Like, for me, I did everything myself. I found the
Mm.
application, went through the process because when I found the application, I didn't know there was an Erasmus Mundus Association on Facebook in Nigeria
No.
at that
Okay.
time. So for you starting up, you don't like you can start looking at the EMA Facebook page. People always post like from time to time guidelines. I think the catalog is also there. I can also send you the link to the catalog when we are done. But the
Okay.
Erasmus Mundus Joint Master Degrees Program scholarships, they have, like I said, over 150 programs, and each have their own different requirements. So I'm only speaking for the International Masters of Science in Rural Development program under that scholarship because that is the one I benefited from. But if your field is in geology and you find a related scholarship in the catalog, every guideline you need will be on the website. So you have to be ready to, be smart on your feet and like
Mm.
go through the guidelines. Like everything is easy to read, easy to follow,
Mm.
and then you can then start up your application process.
I want us to talk about the work experience because I know that a lot of scholarships to apply for it, you need work experience. What kind of work experience are you referring to? Is it the normal job you do, or what kind of experience, and how should it be relevant to what you're applying for? Just take us through that.
Okay, so work experience, like schooling in Europe is very practical. You know, that's where the system is different because everything you're learning in the classroom, the exams, most of the applications, they are practical and hands-on. So many times work experience for applications is a plus. Well, in my case, I did not have, what will I say? I did not have what one might consider like serious work experience, but I had a lot of internships during my undergraduate. So during my undergraduate program, we had 1 year SIWES. I think most people have SIWES. that's a form of internship in line with your program. In other words, like during close to my final year, I interned for, I think it was just a month at the Ministry of Agriculture and Rural Development in Abuja. So that counted as experience for me. For work experience, your internships, because there are different sets of people who will be applying for a master's abroad. Some people are those who, after their bachelor's, they went to work probably in the field that they are passionate about, and then they want to do a master's to gain more professional experience in that line. For you, you're already sorted. Now, for those who are straight out of school, like me, like I just finished NYSC and afterwards I was leaving, so I did not even work professionally at all after school. What helped me
Okay.
was internships that I did during my undergraduate. So, and one internship I can readily mention is Cyrus. I think every Nigerian student does Cyrus, where for maybe 6 months or 1 year, you're attached to the industry, and then Nigeria, I think the Nigerian government or something, or your school under Cyrus pays you. That's already a kind of experience. So make sure you're maximizing it. Then another thing I did was after my bachelor's, I started to take online courses related to rural development and search out
Related
for,
to the course you want to
yes,
study for your master's.
related to rural development because that's my passion. So I found an internship, a remote internship by Dataville Research LLC. It was on
Okay.
international development. And that's where I started to learn about the SDGs, the MDGs, and all of that. And those were very relevant for the field that I was going to study. So when I started to make my applications in terms of work experience, those internships were what I uploaded. But don't just upload them, explain in your words how they shaped you for that program you're going for. So for me, okay, for 1 year, I was interning. We did Cyrus on the ground in my school. I finished from Uniloring. So we were on the farm
Okay.
during that year. So when I was writing my application to say, okay, for 1 year, I was a research undergraduate assistant at the school farm. I'm able to say, oh, we went for this particular extension program where I served as a group
Okay.
leader and where we were able to work with the rural community and provide solutions on how they should address some of the challenges they were facing with relation to their agricultural system. So that's already not just the experience, not just saying, oh, I had this experience, but what did it add to you and how do you think it relates to what you're applying for? So you have
Okay.
to do
Relevant.
that when you
Yeah, it's
present.
relevant. All right. Now I want to ask a question. Is it possible for you to transition? Like maybe you studied mass communication and you now want to go for your master, then you want to go for agriculture. Is it possible to do that kind of transitioning?
Okay. Well, I would say, well, the example you gave is like very far mass communication. I mean, you're in arts or something, and in
Yeah, you're
agriculture is
moving
science.
to
But the truth is the European educational system is not as rigid as the Nigerian one. And yes, it is possible to transition. And many of the courses where it's possible to transition are more data analysis, AI related courses, because
okay.
those are courses that your contextual background, like you can apply data analysis, AI to agriculture. So you could have studied agriculture or maybe statistics and now you're like, I want to transition into data analysis full time.
Mm,
Your statistics already gives you a background. So you may not
yeah.
have been studied computer engineering, but when you're applying, it's now for you to link how statistics, how you will use your statistics background because data analysis is built on mathematics and statistics. So it's for you to link it and say, I am strong in statistics and I will use this background to, link to data analysis, which I'm applying for. For my own situation, I also transitioned to an extent. I did general agriculture and then I majored in agricultural economics. And
Okay.
In the Nigerian system, agricultural economics and rural development are two separate departments within agriculture. I don't know if it has changed, but that's how it was when I was in Nigeria. And I remember asking some of my lecturers that, oh, I want to do rural development for my master's. And they kept telling me that because you did agricultural economics, you have to continue in that line. You cannot switch. And that's what they kept saying. But despite the fact that when I saw this program and I was like, this is exactly what I want to do, I applied with my agricultural economics background and I was accepted into the program. And I was able
Mm.
to apply some of the things I had learned, from general agriculture, from the economics part to rural development, because they are all intertwined at the end of the day.
Okay.
So the European educational system is so flexible that you can transition, but you have to be strategic about it. You have to be very strategic about it.
You need to
So
prove it.
yes, you have to prove that the knowledge you have gathered from, because some people, for example, did not study what they wanted during their bachelor's. Okay, let's say you studied physics for your bachelor's, and then maybe for your master's, like you started developing passion in aeronautics,
Okay.
for example, and you're like, oh, I really think I want to go in this line, and I don't want to go back to do a full bachelor's on this. Now, what you have to do is you be strategic about it. How does physics connect to aeronautics? Since you don't
The
want to do
connection.
another bachelor's, you start thinking, and then when you look at aeronautics, you see that many of the principles of aeronautics are based on some principles you have learned in physics.
Okay.
So you can link it that way, and then you can add to yourself by maybe going online to find some free courses that just give you an overview of what are the specific links from physics to aeronautics.
Okay.
So you can transition, like I want people to have that possibility mindset. You can transition. And in this new generation we're entering, transitions are like the order of the day. People who have been in public finance suddenly want to enter into development or something. So you can transition, but be strategic about it. And
Then
have
your work experience must also um be relevant to what you want to study as well.
your work experience has to be in line, has to be relevant.
Okay, so for people who do not have like good grades, like very good grades, maybe like I don't know, I went to a polytechnic, so maybe upper credits, lower credits. Is there a possibility for people like that to get scholarship?
Yes, there is a possibility for them to get scholarships. Um, what you then start to do is give yourself an advantage. So you already know that because scholarships are very competitive. The Erasmus
Yes.
Mundus Joint Master's Scholarship, it's not just open to African students, it's open to Europeans, it's open to Indians, Americans. You're competing with people all over the world. So if you didn't have good grades, what is your advantage? Your advantage could be your work experience.
Mm.
Like, think about what work experience sets you at the cutting edge of that industry. When
Okay.
somebody's because some industries, when you work with them, it feels like they're already a stamp on the kind of person you are and on the kind
Mm.
of value you will be bringing to that program. Because the good thing about the European system is you're not just learning, but they are also learning from you. You have to also show what you have to offer. So start thinking of what would be your advantage. And if you feel like work experience is not your way, you're an entrepreneur, then start to tailor your business to, okay, I feel like I want to enter into this industry and I'm an entrepreneur and I have this idea. How do I align the work I do to place me on the cutting edge and make me such an authority in that line that when I submit my application, my academic scores can be overlooked? That's another thing.
Mm.
And that thing could be your online, like you don't have to wait to go to school physically. Now, the internet, Coursera, there are so many free courses online that you can take to strengthen yourself. And even some of them that require maybe a little token of payment for you to get the certificate. So if you're like, oh, I didn't have good grades and I want to study data analysis, go online and take data analysis courses. Start
Process.
start building your GitHub portfolio showing relevant projects you have done. So if you didn't have good grades, it is an opportunity for you to give yourself another advantage and start thinking of what is that advantage and what can I start doing from now to give myself that advantage. So yeah, there are people, I think there was a third class student who got an Erasmus scholarship. And I think his advantage was work experience, like
Wow.
in prestigious organizations.
Mm. Interesting. I think I like that because I've also looked at it because someone reached out to me like, "Ah, I don't have a good grade, so I don't think I can apply for any scholarship." But you've actually cleared the hair that your work experience, you can start working on it and use it to like prove yourself. Yeah, that's great. Okay, so when while you were applying, what made your application stand out?
I was passionate about what I was applying for. Like, I was passionate about it. I was not applying because I wanted to leave Nigeria. No. I'm one of those people that were like, I never thought I would leave Nigeria because I'm so passionate about development in Nigeria that I was like, if everybody leaves Nigeria, who will develop it? So when I finished school, I actually planned to do my master's in Ilorin or in FUT Mina. And I'd already even told my parents, don't worry, once the COVID year is off, once applications open, I will pick the form. But like I said, when I kept asking the lecturers, like, I have a passion for rural development. I went to the rural areas, I saw the poverty there, and it touched me deeply. And I'm like, I want to solve this problem. Why is this a problem? Why is the people who are the backbone of the most lucrative industry in poverty? That was my pain point. Like, I want to solve this problem. And I kept telling them, look, I want to delve into rural development. And they kept telling me it was not possible. I have to continue in agricultural economics. So when I saw this program that I applied for, rural development, I was like, God, this, I'm a person of faith. So I was like, God, this is exactly what is in my heart. Like, it is a mirror of what I was saying to myself, what I was like, I want to delve into and all of that. And so I applied out of that passion. So when I write my motivation letter, I'm not thinking like I said, I applied myself. I did not, nobody preferred my motivation letter for me. I wrote from the passion of my heart. I told my story. I told them how I went to the rural area, how I saw the situation, and what I did concerning it. I worked on
Solutions
my
you provided.
yes, was based on that. And then, so my motivation, I feel like your passion, your interest, passion, authenticity stands you out. And it's not
Mm.
something you can fake. If you don't have it, you don't have. If it is just because you want to leave Nigeria, it will show one way
How
or
will
the
you
other.
show?
Honestly, it will show. It will
How?
show. It will
Because I
catch
know
up
like
with
now people
you.
want to like jack by using the study route and all of that.
Yeah. It will show because studying abroad is not easy. So if you're not passionate about what you want to study, you will fall off the bridge at a point, honestly. It's a lot of hard work because it's more practical. You're going to learn new skills. You're going to be in an environment that is culturally different from what you're used to. You'll be adjusting to the weather, adjusting to a new system. And if they don't speak English, Belgium was my first point of entry into Europe. So you're adjusting to many new things. So if you don't have passion or an interest in that line, at a point, it will definitely show. See,
Honestly.
another
So
advantage for me were my academic results. I finished as a first class student, as the
wow.
best graduating student in my department, and as the overall best female student in my faculty. So I was around, let me say, the top 1% or top 5%. So that I know was also a strength because for the application, I had to literally write out the subject I had done and the grades I got. And so when I thought of, I don't think I can ever get the scholarship, is probe yourself. Why? Is it that you feel like your results are not good enough? Like I've mentioned before, if you feel it's your results, get another advantage. What will be your advantage? Why? Is it because you feel like, oh, I don't have enough work experience? Now there are online courses that you can use to upskill yourself. So
Mm.
ask your why. When you feel like, I don't think I can get a scholarship, why do you think so? Why? Or do you feel like it's so difficult? I don't even know where to start from. There are so many resources online. For example, the Erasmus Mundus scholarship program has a catalog. That catalog shows you the programs they have. When you go through it, you would know the ones that speak to you the most. And many times the application instructions are very clear online. It's something you can sit and do yourself. Or are you feeling like, oh, the work is too hard. I don't know where to start. I need guidance. Some people, for me, I could do it myself. Some people need hand holding. They need somebody where they can say, please proofread this for me. There is an Erasmus Mundus Association on Facebook. And when you reach out to them, most of the scholars go on LinkedIn and search for scholars in the line you want to go in. There are people who reached out to me and were like, oh, for me, I'm applying for IMRD. Please, can you proofread my motivation letter? If I'm available, if I have the time, I'll say yes. I can put you through. I can tell you what you need. So ask yourself, why do I think I cannot get a scholarship? And once you know the reasons, write down all the reasons. Is it results? Is it that I need? Then start to write, what can I do about them? What can I do about this? Do I need a support community? Where can I find one? Like the world is full of possibilities. So don't beat yourself down or don't disqualify yourself for something that you might already be qualified for without knowing.
Yeah.
So,
Okay. So
okay.
why do you think most students are not getting scholarships?
So scholarships are generally very competitive, especially international scholarships. Especially
Okay.
like, for example, the Erasmus Mundus scholarship is, like I said, not only targeted at Africa, it's targeted at like Americans can apply, Chinese can apply. You're competing with different categories of people, not just within Nigeria, but outside of Nigeria. And that's one thing you have to have in mind. The fact that you were the best graduating student in your university does not mean you're on the same level with a best graduating student from another country. You need to understand that you are competing with people from different educational systems. And for some people, their educational system has equipped them with internships such that while they are graduating 400 level, the same bachelors they are graduating with you, they have probably, for example, developed a policy. They've worked with the European Union and developed a policy as an undergraduate student. And you are competing with them. And then when you look through your profile, will you say you have done something that is at par with that? No. The answer might be no. The answer might be yes. That's why I keep saying find an advantage. So again, ask that question. Don't feel like, oh, I was the best graduating student. I did very well. I know how I wrote that application, but I was not accepted. The fact that you were not accepted showed that probably the people you were competing with had much better proofs. Because these processes, they are not bureaucratic. No. Scholarships are based on merit. And here in Europe, excellence is something that is a culture. So it's not like there's no, oh, they did not like me. No, it is, they don't know you. It's based on what you have presented. So if you find
Exactly.
yourself keep applying and you're not getting anything, go back to your drawing board and ask yourself, why? On like have that broadened perspective that I am competing with somebody who has worked in a top organization and who finished with the highest grade possible. What is my advantage? So now instead of like, for me, that's why I keep going back to that. What is your advantage? What stands you out? Why should they pick you out of the 1,000 applications that came in from Africa, other African countries, other European countries, other American students? Why should they pick you out of them?
You must be able
So go
to
back,
prove that.
you must be able to prove that, yes.
Mm.
So don't be
Okay.
discouraged and go back to the drawing board. There are people who got a scholarship after 10 applications. There are people who did more than that. So don't be discouraged
Don't give up
because,
easily.
yes, don't give up easily because you did not get after one. If that's what is really in your heart to do, then keep upskilling yourself because the scholarship most times open yearly. So if you apply this year, it did not work. While you're preparing for your next application, what will you have done that would have added to your value to show that I am a capable person? I know what I'm doing in this line.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is it possible
So
for HND leaders to get scholarships?
again, I would say yes. But what is your advantage? What is your
So it
advantage?
doesn't matter the degree.
It doesn't matter your degree, but when you sit and you're competing with other students from all over the world, how do you stand out? What stands you out? So people who have HND many times are very technical. I know that people who had gone to do HND and then they entered into my bachelor's when I was in the university, they were very experienced and they're very intelligent. Because I don't know if that's the one that makes them go hands-on into the practical parts of the courses, you know.
Mm.
So if you finish with a HND and you feel you want to, what have you been doing after your HND? Have you worked or what did you do? Mine is, it's
Have you
possible.
volunteered?
Yes. Have you volunteered? That's another thing. It's possible, but that thing again, what stands you out?
I think what I'm taking out from this response is don't be idle while you're waiting for scholarship.
Yeah.
Make sure you're doing something, is that you're volunteering or you're in training, internship, or you're
Yeah.
working something that will be relevant to what you want to apply for the scholarship.
Please subscribe to Opportunity Spotlight. If you have questions about how to study abroad, you want to break the misconceptions about the process, you want to learn how simple the process can be, then please subscribe and stay tuned for more updates from the